If you like this video, make sure to visit our Vimeo page and follow us to get the latest update.
So let me open the TM system. So the mapping of the different sales order type to OTR type, the mapping of different delivery type to DTR type, all these are done using conditions concept, as I told you. So 1 minute. So first of all, I will show you where we do this mapping, and then I'll come into the picture, like I'll tell you why this mapping is required. Okay. So we go to NWBC. And when we go to NWBC, we click here. And here, if you see, I need to go to application administration. Under application administration, we go to general settings. And under general settings, we need to go to conditions. And under conditions, see, there are 3 conditions here. One is your display condition, credit condition, edit condition. So let me first of all go to display condition. So display condition is a part where we have already created the condition, and based on that, SAP will determine the OTR and the TTR type. So if I go into this drop down, if I go here, so these are the different conditions which I have been creating in the system. I'll go into this later on in details, but let me first of all show you. See, if you see here, there is a condition type which is called as a OTR type. So OTR type, this condition is actually used to indicate that my which sales order will be transferred to OTR, and this condition type will indicate which delivery is going to create my DTR. So there are 2 separate condition types, one for OTR, one for DTR. So if I click on this OTR type, here you can see that this is the table which you get. This is called as a decision table. So decision table means where we are actually mapping the order type with the OTR type. Again, because we are using OTR underscore type as a condition type. So whatever sales order we are creating, we have to map that and what against the particular OTR type. So for example, in my scenario, if you see TMSO was a ERP order type and the output was OTR type TSOR. Because this particular mapping sheet was there, that's why system was able to find out against which sales order type my OTR type will be there. So if you want to create a new conditions, okay. So if you what you have to do, you have to click on this insert entry, okay. And against this, you need to basically specify the particular document type for which you want to create OTR. So if I go into this, I go into direct value. Suppose I go into NB. NB is an order type, or OR. OR is the sales order type. I click on OR. And against this, I click on the OTR type. So which OTR type will be created when my sales order of document type OR is created. And this is the OTR type. Okay. So like this, you can create different multiple combinations, and system will validate if an entry exists. If an entry exists, that's okay, or else it will create with a default OTR or default DTR type. Okay. So this is a very important application because without this setup, your OTR type will not be determined from the order type. The same thing, what we need to do is about the DTR type. Okay. So if I just close this, so if I go to the display condition, so this is the DTR type. Again, for which DTR, for which delivery. So if you see again, my delivery was TOBD. Against TOBD, my deployment type was 0D1. Okay. So again, same thing. If you want to basically specify for which delivery type to which year, you need to again click on to go to edit, and you have to click on this additional entries. Okay. So if I go in this new insert, so for example, if I have a delivery type, click on direct value input, and here ERP delivery type is LF. And here the transportation requirement type was the one, the DTR type. So here the DTR type, basically, for example, is this one. For example, just take a moment. So in this way, you can actually check which OTR or which DTR type can be created. So this is called as a BRF plus. BRF stands for Business Rules Framework. Now, how does system automatically determine that when I'm entering this condition type? So if you see here, when I'm entering condition type, system is automatically determine this input as this and output as this. So this is required coming here because you have, if you click on this data access definition, in this data access definition, we are actually providing a relationship between the input and the output. This is a little bit technical in nature. Okay, so that's why, you know, if you have got too much of BRF plus application in your system, because condition application is actually has multiple significance here. Okay, uh, so for example, so that's why we use the word condition. So when I talk, so what are the conditions? So conditions are nothing but they are the tools which determines an input value based on the master data or transaction, and it derives an output value from the input value. So you can use conditions in the freight order type determination. You can also use condition to determine your organizational units. If you want to have a condition for determining the loading and unloading time of a freight unit, all things can be done. So also if you want to determine a delivery time window, you can also do it. So every different applications in TM using condition uses this condition type. Okay. So if you go back, you will have every condition type here. And where we define this condition type, we define this condition type in the configuration. So if I go into this configuration, so if I go here, if I go to SPRO, I go here, I go to my transport management, I go to transport management, go to basic functions, and here go to conditions. So if you see here, first we need to specify what is the condition type. So in my case, the condition type was, for example, this is a condition type. Again, please note you need to take help of your developer or your BRF plus consultant in case you are doing too much of condition type determination. Okay, because this requires an expertise in technical part as well. So if you say every condition type, whether it's OTR type or DTR type, it is linked to a corresponding structure. Okay, so if I double click this, so you see for this specific condition type, there are a few fields which you need to know. First of all, if you see when I'm creating a condition type, it is putting a tick mark, only one condition allowed. That means I cannot create a new BRF plus condition using this condition type if already an entry exists. So in my case, because my entry already exists with this particular condition, right? Because this condition type is being used here. So because I put a tick mark for one condition, that means this condition is already being used in this condition. This condition type is already being used in condition. So I cannot create another new condition using the same condition type. So that is the meaning of this singleton condition. Okay. So that means only one condition is allowed. Then comes the result is the DDIC. DDIC is what? DDIC is the very crucial piece of information because here you are entering the data element, structure, or the table type that is used as the output of a condition. So what is the output? Output is my DTR type, right? Now against a delivery document, you want a DTR type. So that is why this resulting structure is TRQ DTR type. Okay. So if you see my output is my DTR type. So whenever you want to get an output, this is the one. Data access is SCM TMS TRQ DLB underscore type. That is my delivery type. Okay. And finally, this is your business object section. Business object means here you can see where the condition starts searching for an input value. So my input value is my delivery document, and delivery document is always a request document. Okay. So the correspondingly business object and the business nodes needs to be defined here. Root means header level. So for every condition type which you see here, okay, every time you need to basically check and basically see. Okay. What are the different types of structure, output, input system has to read through. And once you are creating this DTR type, okay, TRQ DTR type, okay. So once you have defined this, then you need to define the, like assign the condition type to data access definition. So data access definition. So if I go into this condition type, DTR underscore type. So this condition type is linked to this particular delivery type as your data access. So this data access, if you see data access TRQ underscore DLB underscore type, this is the one which you see here. TRQ underscore DLB. So data access is always automatically clicking here because of the based on the condition type. Because in the condition type, this configuration is there. But for this condition type, this is the data access. And where do you define the data access? So the data access is actually defined here. Okay, so if you see every data access definition needs to have a linkage with your data element, which is a BTD proc type C, right? You see here, BTD proc type C. Okay, so every data element which is used in this has to link with this data access definition, because if this value is not there, if I just explain this, if this value is not there, this BTD proc type code, this has to come here. That means if this configuration is not there, then this will not be there. Okay. And along with that, you need to also specify which business object is used in this condition and what is the node, whether it is the root node or whether it is the item node. So there are three things what you need to do. First of all, you need to define your condition type. You need to define your data access, and finally you need to assign your condition type to your data access. If I go to my condition type, this is the linkage. My condition type is this one. So my condition type was assigned underscore techniques. If you see it. So this is the delivery type condition linkage what you have. So these three things you need to do in order to have the setup done for VRA Plus. So why I told you need a developer guide, because unless the developer guy is there, you will not be able to find out which business object, which node, which field you need to do. Okay. Any question here? No. So always note whenever a condition type is to be created, you will have basically, two columns. One, your input column will always have a gray background, and another is your output column, which will have a green background. Okay. So whatever input criteria you need to give, you have to always. So for example, you need to add a new criteria, for example, based on shipping condition. Just to give an example. In that case, you need to make sure that in this data access definition, you create a new line item and you need to enter the business object. So this BO is your business object. This is whether you want to retrieve the business object at a header level, item level, and this is the field. So you can always select the field from this drop down as well. A lot of fields are available based on the description. So you need to have this information here in order to basically retrieve the information back into the decision table. Okay. So this is what we have in BRF Plus. Obviously, I will show you some more examples of BRF Plus later on once we go into the BRF Plus. But this is quite critical because this actually decides how on what factor your OTR and DTR will be triggered in case you have got multiple order and delivery orders. Okay. Okay, so I think this is what I had to tell you about the BRF Plus condition. So we will quickly just close this. Any question on this before I go into the next part? Because I wanted to show you some variants, how this, the order management works in case we change something in your particular scenario. Okay. Okay. Anything? Anything you need to tell me? Clear to everything, everyone? Yes. Okay. Sorry, anyone was asking something? Okay. So
Yeah, I had a question.
yeah.
Does business rule are predefined to some extent in like by default with SAP, or you have to start from scratch for all the entries? Because I see a lot of entries when you issue.
Yeah,
But
so that's why I did not go much into details. See, suppose if I go into condition, if you see here, when you click on create condition, this condition type you see, you have got around more than 60 odd condition types. And this condition type is coming because SAP has given some standard condition type. Okay.
okay.
Like this. Okay. And if you want to create any new condition type, what you have to do? So for example, I just want to create a new DTR type. Okay, you just give a condition. I will not be able to create this because I have already created a DTR condition type. Okay, but now what you have to do, just maintain the condition type here, click on continue. Now, because my condition name is DTR type, and here you have seen, see, it will allow only one condition because the tick mark is there, right? That means you will not be allowed to create a new condition with the same condition type. You can only edit or add. Okay. So once you click on this, so if I click just go into any other condition type where it is not, for example, quantity dollars, just to give an example. When you click on this, so your condition type will determine what will be the input and what will be the output. And these standard condition types are all given by standard SAP. See, once I select a condition type, my input completely changes. Okay. So I hope you're understanding what I'm saying, right? That means
Yeah, I got it.
okay, so
So
based on the condition type, the layout will change because if you click on this data access now, you will have completely new layouts. So that's what this dynamic determination of any output is done when you are using this. Okay, so that's why we also call BRF Plus as a dynamic conditions triggering in any type of process flow. So where your input and output is varying because your input may have different parameters. Your output will be based on that parameter which you have maintained in the decision table. Okay.
okay, got it.
Any question? And one more thing I just tell you. Suppose you go to sales order. If you go to the header condition, if you see there is a field called a shipping condition, right? So the shipping condition, as I've shown you, yesterday, like when you are creating your particular control key and you are assigning your control key to your order and delivery integration, your shipping condition is one of the part, right? So the shipping condition is the attributes that will control your transfer of sales order to TM. So if you are changing anything to a shipping condition in a sales order, so that can classify a sales order as either ERP integrated with TM or not integrated with TM. So, okay, so for example, if a sales order is created, which has a shipping condition assigned in that particular configuration, and accordingly the sales order will create an output message TRSO, and then the OTR will be created. But if you are changing the shipping condition in the ERP again to a shipping condition which is not listed in that activation table for the transfer to TM, then the OTR, new OTR will not be created with all the freight units that were created. Okay. So whenever you are creating or changing, so in case you are changing any type of sales shipping condition for an already existing OTR, then the OTR will also be cancelled because system will not be able to validate or find the shipping condition for that specific sales order. Okay. So whenever you're changing any shipping condition and if you want to trigger your TM, please make sure that the shipping condition value is specified in that activation table. Now, what will happen in case the shipping condition is blank in the activation table? So remember that if no shipping condition is defined in the activation table, all shipping conditions will be considered relevant for transfer to TM in that case. Okay. Okay, now one more thing I just need to tell you that the about behavior that cancellation of OTR and all will take place in case you are changing the shipping condition is only valid for which a delivery has not yet been created. So as soon as a delivery will be created, no further messages for creation or cancellation will be sent to TM. And if the target TM system is changed based on a new shipping condition, then a message will be raised for the user. Okay. So this was what I needed to tell you for your particular shipping condition flow. Okay, so now I will just show you few scenarios. Okay, this holds good for both standalone and S4HANA. So let me just show you in S4HANA so that you can also correlate. So that is what is the impact when you are changing anything in your particular quantity part. Okay, so if I go into this S4HANA 2020. So basically, if you revise the flow, if you see the flow, once my order and delivery is integrated, it creates a freight unit. And then from the freight unit, you can plan the freight unit to create a freight order. Okay. So if you remember this flow, which I have shown you on the very first day. So once you are doing a planning, you see here, it is very important. Once you are planning your freight unit, you will create a freight order. Okay. Now this freight order can be created in multiple ways. Either you can create it manually or you can create it through a planning tool. I'll show you all the different ways by which this freight order can be created. But what is the impact when in case you are making any changes to an existing freight unit quantities or order delivery quantities? That's what I'm going to show you. Okay, so let me create a quick sales order here. Suppose I create a sales order here. Suppose I create a sales order of 5 quantities. Okay. So I'm doing this as a delivery based plan. Let me first show you this one. Okay. Please focus on this. This is very important. So I have now created a standard order. Now let me create a delivery. So can you tell me how many quantities will be created for this delivery? Can you tell me how many quantities will be created for the freight unit? Anyone? Hello.
I think
How
it's
many?
as per the FEBR, maybe 3, I think.
3. Oh, why 3?
I
Yeah.
mean,
So yeah. Okay. So I have not put any split rule. My split
Okay.
rule will work only if it is above 7. Because it is less than 7, so it will create the corresponding 5 quantities, right? So what I
Yes.
will do now, as for the flow C, I'm showing you one of the way. Please, this is not the ideal way, or it's not a what I will say the best practice way to create a freight order, but just to show you how does this quantity changes. That's why I'm just creating a shortcut way to plan. So when I'm planning means I need to load this freight unit to a freight order, right? I need to create a shipment document, correct? So that my freight can be transported. So what I will do, I will open the freight unit. I will go into this stages tab. And when I click on this stages tab, so I click on this. So if you go into the general data, you will see because I have not done any planning, my loading and unloading date is blank. Okay. So my loading and unloading date is blank here. In that case, what will happen? Now let me just do the planning. Planning means I need to create a shipment document. So I can create a shipment document manually also from the freighting. I just click on this. I click on, I click on this edit button. I click on this capacity document. I click on create one per stage. And when I create one per stage, because it is moving from a shipping point to customer location, suppose I want to create a freight order because I don't want to go for a multiple stage. Okay. Now I click on OK. And when I click on this save button, okay. Now if you go and see the general data tab, you will see your loading and unloading data has come up. Okay. And now if you see the document flow, you will see your freight order is also created. Okay. Now if I see the open the freight order, can you tell me how many quantities should be created for the freight order? Anyone? How many quantities should be created for the freight order? Any guesses? No guess. So if I go into the item section, I see quantity is 5. Why quantity is 5? Because my freight unit was 5. My sales order was 5. Okay. Is it clear? Any question? SO is 5 quantity. Freight unit is delivery is 5 quantity. My freight unit is and freight order is 5 quantity. Any question on this as of now?
Like why we were questioning like how many quantities will be there because as you
Yes.
written over here like sales order had 5 quantities, delivery 5. So freight unit will have to have 5.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to understand from the people who are getting it or not. Now I will change the quantities. So that's why I will ask you the question, how many quantities you will get. Now I'm going to update the quantities now.
Okay.
Okay. Because if I go above 7, there will be a split. That's why I'm asking you how many quantities. Okay. Now, suppose this is the ideal happy scenario. Now what I do, I change the outbound delivery. Instead of 5, I now go into 10. Okay. So now if I click on 7, oh sorry, save. So if I go to display, okay, so this is my delivery quantity. And now if you go into the TM status, you will see the splitting 7 and 3. Because my packaging was such that my packaging cannot have more than 7 quantities of a particular product. So because I put in 10, so that's why it is splitting it into 7 and 3. So can you tell me how will your freight order look like? How many quantities your freight order will have? So now I increase my delivery to 10. Now my freight unit is broken down into 7 plus 3, right? So how many quantities your freight order will have? No idea.
I think existing freight order will be updated to 7 and 3. It will be new freight.
Okay, let me check this. Let me check the freight order. It will still be 10 because my freight order is actually a replica of my freight unit, right? And I'm not telling anywhere that my freight unit should be moved into another freight order because my location or anything is changing. Okay, so in case it is still respecting the resource capacity, okay, because we are not doing any automatic planning, we are doing manual planning. So system will just copy the hierarchy of your item from freight unit into freight order. So if you see this 7 plus 3, 10. So your freight order will also be 10 quantity. Because your freight unit is not splitted, it is only splitted in terms of line item. But overall, the freight unit number is still the same. If you see here, it is still the freight order unit is 688, 680. Okay. Clear to everyone? That's why I was asking you the quantities. Because unless you have this concept clear, you know, any changes, anything will not, you will not be clear on that. So that's why I wanted to show you this.
But bring the one question, I mean, the rule that we applied to create a FO from the stage for a single stage, that was for that freight unit. Now we have a new freight unit. So how
No.
the rule copied from one
We
freight
don't
unit?
have a new freight unit. Freight unit number is same. Only the hierarchy has increased. We don't have any new freight unit. So splitting of a freight unit means basically within the same item, we have just splitted 10 into 7 and 3. But the freight unit number is all same. You do not have different freight unit number.
So is this rule same in 9.5 and 9.4 also?
Anywhere. It is irrespective of whether it's 9.5 or S1.
Because in our cases, we are applying Charco strategies and creating a new freight unit.
See, when you are using a Chaco strategy, I don't know whether you are using any Z strategy there or not. Okay. But when you are going for a default, so default means we don't assign any strategy to freight unit. Okay. And in the default one, this is how the standard behaves.
Okay.
So your splitting can happen based on different regions. It can be based on your different transportation group. It can be based on different types of other parameters. I'll come into this splitting part during the planning process. But in standard, this is how your in standard it works. There is no difference in which where you are working, whether it's S4 or something. It's the same process. Okay. Now what I will do, I will now increase so there is a mismatch between my sales and my delivery. So now the sales guy said, oh no, I need another requirement has come from business. So I will just change my particular sales order now. So what I will do, I'll go to the original sales order. The delivery quantity is still 10, but sales order is 5. So what I will do, it's 1425. So I'll change my sales order. So when you go into sales order, instead of 5, suppose I go 15. Okay, so how will you plan this? Tell me, anyone? My delivery is 10, my sales order is 5, sales order is 15. What should, as a planner, what you should do now? Anything? What comes in your mind, what you should do after this process?
Let's check the delivery flow. What TM is updated.
No, you should create a delivery first. The reason is you have still open quantities of 5, right? You need to match your order with delivery, correct? So from your delivery,
Why not update the existing delivery to 15?
you can do that also. You can do that also. It's up to you. But I suppose I want to create a new delivery. That also you can do. But system will allow you to create another delivery of pending 5 quantities. Okay. And now, okay, so urban delivery created. And now if you go and see the sales order, see the scenario. So if I go to the sales order, if I go to the TM status tab, you will see this is hierarchy. The first hierarchy, you have created delivery of 10 quantities and for which you have planned a freight order. The second part is your freight unit, which I have not planned. You can plan this freight unit, but if you see the freight units are different. Because for the second you created another 5 deliveries, and according to that the freight unit created will be different. So that's how we can do a splitting part as well. Okay, so and if you were interested to update the existing delivery, you could have done it. Instead of 10, you could have done to 15. That was also a possibility. But in case this second delivery had a different delivery dates, for example, the parameters are different or something, then it is better that they would plan it in a different truck. But in case the dates were same, then in that case you could have actually changed or updated the existing delivery as well. So this is how, so why I wanted you to show this, because the brief summary is that whatever changes you are doing in your source document, that needs to have an association with the TM documents. So that my trucker who is either loading or unloading the products, okay, or picking up from the warehouse, okay, need to have a synchronization between all the systems enterprise wise. Okay, so whatever updates you are doing it in your ECC, that passes on to TMS. That is actually the summary what I wanted to show you with this. Okay, clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now there is, so the last part of this order management part before I move to freight unit is that, so there are 2 different flows in order management. One is called as a order based planning and another is called as a delivery based plan. Any idea what could be the subtle difference between these two? There is a very minor difference. From the wording itself, what do you feel? What is the main difference here between order and delivery based planning? Anything, where any wild guesses? No one knows? Just 1 minute. Hello. Yes, sorry. So what, any idea what is the difference between these two, order based and delivery based? Those who are from TM who have worked in any project in TM, have you encountered this planning types? Order based, delivery based? Anyone? No one?
In order-based
Yeah.
in order-based planning, FU attached to OTR, as far I know, and in delivery-based planning, FU attached to DTR, that input attached to DTR.
Yes. But suppose if you're going to any workshop, what will be your recommendation? How will you say? Because see, for example, you need to convince to client, right? That I need OTR or I need DTR, that's a different thing. But moreover, from a real-time example perspective, how will you explain that? Because business will not be knowing whether it's order based or delivery based. So how will you explain them? First of all, my question is, do you feel OTR or DTR is mandatory? Or OTR is mandatory or DTR is mandatory? Which one is mandatory? You will get the answer there only.
DTR, you know.
Yes, DTR is mandatory. OTR is not mandatory. Okay. Then what could be the major difference here?
In OTR, the truck will be delivered to the same ship to party. In DTR-based planning, we can consolidate the orders from different, I mean, delivery items of different orders also.
Okay, I tell you. So what happens in order based planning? Order based planning, basically you create your sales order. You create your freight unit. But here the delivery creation is not done directly from the sales order. So we first of all do a planning in TM. So planning in TM means we create a freight order. From freight order, we create a delivery proposal. Okay. And then this delivery proposal will be sent across to ECC to create a delivery. So the main attributes of order-based planning is that delivery is created based on the transportation planning in TM. But when you come across to delivery-based planning, you create your sales order. Then the delivery will be created either manually or through batch job in ECC S/4HANA itself. And from this delivery, your freight unit will be created, followed by freight order. So the main difference here is that in the case of order-based planning, your driver to create your delivery is TM because the planning is done in TM. And when you are doing your delivery-based planning, you don't have to worry that your delivery is driven by TM or not. Delivery is always as part of the subsequent process in sales order. And then accordingly, the corresponding other flow remains the same. So what I have told, what I have showed you now is your delivery based plan because I've created order, I've created delivery and then freight unit freight order. So now I'll show you what is order based plan. So in the workshop, when you will be presenting a workshop to the client, if business wants to know which one to use. So first of all, you have to tell them currently that whether your delivery creation is impacted by any transportation planning or not. If the answer is no, then in that case, you should not go for order based planning. But if the client says, no, I actually have a dependency because I want to have my requirement much in advance before the delivery gets created. OK, and also my delivery creation is influenced by my TM planning. In that case, you have to go for an order based planning. So these are the two differences between order and delivery based planning. Is it clear to everyone? So for which scenario, which variant should be used? And OTR is really, or order-based planning is really not too much recommended, because what happens if you are creating your freight unit much in advance and later on maybe you will not be able, you will not do your any type of planning because your delivery may be cancelled, or you may, you may not be interested to do the delivery after some, or maybe the delivery is there after 30 days. So unnecessary to create your freight unit, it will remain in the system for so long without doing anything. So in case the delivery cycle window and everything is quite huge for a particular client, and if the delivery is not influenced by TM planning, I will always recommend to go for delivery based plan. Okay. Clear to everyone the logic, which one to use, which one not to use, under which scenario?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So now I will show you how this order based planning done. So I think delivery based planning is clear to everyone, what I have done so far. If you want to create an order based planning, suppose I create a sales order.
But Vinod, I have one question from the process perspective. I mean, in case we
Yes.
want to deliver a full truck to a customer and its order is filling, satisfying my truck capacity, so why should I go for delivery based on planning each and every time?
So
I mean, I'm confirming the schedule on my order to the customer. I have given the confirmation date, and my order is confirmed for the full truckload always 99% of the time. So why do I need a delivery based plan?
So this is, you have your own truck, or it is the truck, or is it from your carrier?
Carrier.
So if it is from your carrier, so and if you have so you mean to say from the freight, see, freight unit is never sent to a carrier, right?
No.
Freight unit is always an internal document for planning. Okay. And
Yes.
in that case, if the freight unit is confirmed, sorry, the freight order is confirmed, and if you're getting a confirmation for carrier, then the second part is that then your delivery is anyway created from your freight order, right? That is what we call as order-based planning. So,
But the question is, I can always trigger the delivery proposal from the OTR itself, right? I mean, standard
yes,
SAP law.
yes. Yeah, that's what I told you, right? If you are triggering it from your order-based part, you don't have to trigger it again from delivery, right? You don't have to do that.
No, I'm just a bit confused, still a bit confused. I mean, what will be the actual business case scenario? If my customer says my orders coming from the customer are always confirmed, there's no deviation, then how should I still convince my customer going to the DTL based planning? I mean, I cannot convince the customer just on the basis of like I'll be wasting my number range of the FU.
Okay, let me first of all show you this scenario, maybe then you can understand. See, suppose I'm running this order list. Okay. So I give my order list planning. So what I will do, I will create my sales order. So I will maybe change it to suppose 5 quantity only. I go to the display mode. So I have my TM status. So if you see the flow, first of all, sales order is created, freight unit is created. So this is my freight unit. Okay. So now what I'm saying, I will plan my freight unit to create my freight order, right? So I will not create any delivery now. So I'll go to my freight unit. So I will plan this freight unit to create my freight order. So I click on this edit button. Let me just create this freight order manually. Okay. So when I click on this, please note till now I have not created any delivery. Okay. So I click this, create one per stage. Okay. So I go to this freight order creation. And if you see my freight order is created. right? Now what I will do, I'll go here. So what I'm doing now from the freight order, I will trigger the proposal. Okay. So I click on this edit button. And here I will go to follow up. I will create deliveries. So this is my delivery proposal, which will be sent from my TM. And once I say, okay, now let me go and check my sales order. So if I go to VA03, see my delivery got created. So that means the delivery creation happened not with reference to sales order, but it happened with reference to my freight order. And if you go into this delivery document, okay, so you see this delivery is referencing to the freight order with which it got created. And now once this freight order is created, anyway, you can always, let me close this, too much of screens open. So once this freight order is created, you can always send this freight order. You know, like suppose the truck, the carrier is coming with a FTL truck because he has already confirmed. So you can put in the truck. Okay. So automatically with this vehicle, you will see the means of transport is created, and also you can enter the carrier. Okay. And then the carrier you can send this freight order to the carrier also, because the carrier is already confirmed, but in the system, what you have to do, you have to click on this, go to the subcontracting status, and you click on send to carrier. So what process you are saying, then in that case, you need to send the freight order much before. Okay. So if you now go into the status, if you go to the status of the freight order, because this is a subcontracting document, right? And if you see subcontracting is sent because it is sent to carrier, and if the carrier confirms it by email or through some web services by interface, you can click on confirm by carrier. See confirm by carrier. And then you can do a charge calculation here on the freight order and all. Okay. Where you can see how much charges to be paid. You can see this here as well. In case the charges have been created. Right now, I have not triggered the charge calculation here, but in case one it is triggered, you can see the charges to be paid also for this shipment. So this is how the order management done. Because later on in the delivery, you can do your PGI and all, and in freight order, you can perform the subsequent TM process. This is what the difference is between order based and delivery based. So again, I tell you, order based is delivery creation is influenced by TM planning. But in delivery based, already you are creating the delivery from sales order and you are proceeding ahead with the other subsequent TL process. Was it clear or anything I missed out?
It's clear.
Hello. Is it clear?
Yeah, clear to me.
Okay. So this is the basic difference between order and delivery based. And in case you want still to, change something, you can still do it in the freight order, and all the changes will actually update back into your delivery into your freight order freight unit as well. So this is always a change controller part. Okay. Okay. So this is the second part. Now the third part is that once my particular freight unit is created, there's another linkage. What you can do, suppose I'm maintaining some text in my delivery document, and I want that the same text should come to my TM. So what do I mean by that? I mean, suppose let me create a delivery document. So this is my delivery document, for example. Here I go to header and I go to text. And I maintain some text values there that please handle transport with care. Because there can be some instruction to the carrier as well, right? Because suppose, a carrier, what he does, he just simply whatever is there, he will just pick up the packaging and he will throw it into the truck, which happens generally for any transportation within India, right? They don't care too much about the condition of the product, the temperature of the product. In case the product has to be put it into a particular position at a particular angle, at a particular day, at a particular stacking level, all these things they don't bother actually too much, because that's how the transport happens here. But if you go into Europe and all, or US also, they're very much meticulous about how the transportation happens. So for that, when the delivery guy is creating the delivery, he tends to send some instruction or information to the carrier so that the carrier can be prepared with those particular equipment. So for example, I am moving a transport, and suppose, or rather, I need a container. Okay, and I tell them clearly in the instruction, okay, please handle this with care and please seal the container in both ways. Such type of instruction. So if you are doing in that way, okay, in that case, system will, or rather, the carrier will actually bring a seal, and he will do a sealing of the container in both ways. So that's why sometimes the instruction is very critical. Based on the instruction, the carrier will be prepared with the equipment, how he is doing the transport. So for example, if I'm clicking on please handle transport with care, and if I'm creating on the save button, because I've created a freight unit, I doubt it will come directly. Oh, sorry, I created a freight order. Let me see. It should come in the freight unit. So now if I open a freight unit, generally when you are creating a delivery, automatically the propagation should happen in the freight unit. But here I've already created a freight order. So there is a tab called as a notes tab. Okay. Yes, it can. So if you see in the notes tab, whatever delivery text was given, it has come into a TM text. So similarly, you can also do at the header level, item level, everywhere. So in case you want to maintain anything on an item level in delivery, it will also come. So like this is the header level information, which is called as a notes. Notes means whatever text is maintained in your delivery document, it will always propagate to freight unit as well as in freight order. Freight order also you have the same notes tab. Similarly, if you want to transport anything on an item level, so in the item also you have this product, and here also you have this notes tab. So both this header and item communication or propagation of text between these two actually takes us to a configuration. So that configuration we see it here now. So if we go here, first of all, you need to specify what is the freight unit type, and within the freight unit type. So if I go into this freight unit type, I go to SPRO. I go to this. I go to transport management. I go to planning. I go to freight unit. And I go to freight unit type. And if I go here, I go to ZOG1. And if I go into ZOG1, and here if you go down, you'll see there is a text schema which is assigned to the freight unit type. So this text schema is actually schema means what? Schema means it's a grouping of text. So like we have the text determination procedure in ERP, right? Where under the text determination procedure, we have different text types. Similarly, in TM, we don't have the text determination procedure. We have it as a text schema. So text schema basically involves all the different text types which needs to be propagated or available into the particular document type. So you have the text schema text type in freight unit as well as you have also in the freight order. So if you go into freight order also, for example, if I go into freight order management, go to freight order, in the freight order also, you will find the same thing. If I open this, you will find the text type and text schema. So in some sales cases, you may have a scenario where you don't need to have the text populated in your freight order. In that case, you don't have to put anything here. It will blank. Okay. Now, what are the configurations where we configure this text type and text schema? That's what we'll see now. So if I go into the freight unit again, if I go into this text schema, I go to the cross application components. Under cross application, you will have process and tools. Under process and tools, you will have your BOPF. And under BOPF environment, we'll have text collection. And under text collection, we'll have text schema. Okay. Any question on the logic here? I'll tell you what we have to do here, but any questions so far? Why text is required, why propagation of text is required and all?
It's clear.
Okay. Now, first of all, when you are creating a text type, what you need to do? So if I go into this delivery, so go to header, text, and here you will find there's a table called as a log table, right? So this form header, what is this text type? How do you know? So this form header is a text type in ERP, which is 0001. Okay. So once you get this text type, which is your ERP text type, so because I am doing this text type in my delivery, so what I need to do, I will first of all open an SPRO. Again, I need to first of all link my ERP text type to TM text type. Where we do it? We do it on the transport management. We do it on the integration. Then we do it on the logistics integration, internal TM. And then if you see, this is the assign SDMM text type. So in case you want to transport any text type from sales order to your freight unit, that means for order based planning, you can use this. Where you are using order, that means either sales order or purchase order also you can transport text. Okay. In sales order, if you are maintaining text, or in purchase order, if you are maintaining text, that will also come here. And once you are determining this particular text, okay, you need to specify, okay, which ERP text type needs to be mapped with TM text type. So this TM text type and this ERP text type mapping has to be present. And again, I tell you, this is for sales and purchase order. For our case, this is not applicable because we have done it at a delivery level. But in case you are maintaining any text here at the sales and purchasing, that can also be transported to freight unit. And this tick mark means that it is not TM relevant. Similarly, in our case, so one more thing here, if you see when we talk about sales order, purchase order, it will have both header item, header item. In case you want to transport based on your delivery document, then in that case we have delivery header, delivery item. So delivery header, delivery item means in our cases it is delivery header. That's why this C0001 is mapped with TM text like this. So I have used the standard values. I have not created any custom values and all, because this is standard where the standard text type, that is my ERP text type 0001 is always linked to E0001, which is my TM text type. Now the question is where we configure TM text type, because I have only shown you the assignment. So the configuration of the TM text type is actually the one which I was showing you here. So if you see here, so if I go to E0001, this one. Okay. So this is the place where you can create your text types. And whenever you are integrating in your with your S/4HANA system, we also need to have access sequence. So again, I don't know how much all of you are from ECC background. If you remember, for any text creation process, we need to create a text type, we need to create a condition table, we need to create an access sequence, procedure, everything. Same logic is used here. So you need to create an access. And in this case, the access type should be external source. And this is the determination class we need to use while you want to retrieve any text type from ERP. So this is a standard class which they provided. And this standard class is actually used. And the standard class will use to retrieve the ERP text type with the TM text type. Okay. And here, if you go into the details, you don't need to do anything here because this is standard. That's why it is blank. Now we come into the access sequence. So this access sequence have the accesses. Okay. And then we go to the text schema. And if we're going to the text schema, if you see, this is the one which I've created ZERP default. And within this ZERP default, you can assign multiple text types. Okay. Any question?
No.
Okay. And this reference tick mark you see, this means in case you are making any changes in the text type of your ERP, it will automatically propagate back into TM. If you are removing this tick mark, then it will not propagate. So please make sure this references tab is there. Okay. So this is what you have as part of your text and all. So with this, you can see the order management part is almost done. Okay. So we have seen the OTR, we have seen DTR, we have seen the mapping of OTR and DTR. We have seen the different order-based planning, delivery-based planning. We have also seen how the changes move from one document to another is, really linked with each other. And finally, we have also seen how the text are propagated between from the, ECC to TM. Okay. So anything you need to ask me in the order management part before I go into the freight unit? Anything? Everyone understood till now what we have done? Any flow which you feel is not clear? Okay. So now what we will do, we will see how does a freight unit look like. Okay. So you have seen whenever we are creating any type of freight order or freight unit, or maybe, even if you are moving into, standalone TM also same thing, there is no difference. Okay. There is no change at all. So if I go into this 300 client, so what do you feel? What is the importance of freight unit in any type of uh, setup? What do you feel? Why freight unit is required? Or what will happen if a freight unit is not there? If I ask you in that way. Anyone who wants to comment on freight unit? What do you mean by freight unit? Or why you feel freight unit is required? No one? Okay. So first of all, if you want to see any type of freight unit in the system, you can click on this planning tab. And in the planning tab, you can see the list of all freight units, okay, which has been created automatically. So if you click on this overview freight unit, and if you see here, suppose, when I open any freight unit, I have changed the query. When you have changed the query, you can actually, if I want to, if I remove this, then I can click on this, apply. Then all the freight units which has been created in the system will come up. So this is the, so if you see restricted is to 500, that's why. So you can see all the freight units. Okay. Now, when you open any type of, this is called as a POWL, personal object oriented work list. So work list is a type of a report. And from a work list, you can basically do a filtering in order to see less amount of data, because you can see when you are loading so much of data, it always creates a data consumption there, right? So I can click on this show quick criteria maintenance. And here I can specify what is the document type. So this document type, for example, if I only want to see a document type freight unit 0G1, and if I click on apply button, you can see that, okay, perhaps there is no freight unit here with this document type. If I see with 0001, okay, so these are the different types of freight unit type which you have. Okay, and from here also you can actually do lot of activities. You can display a freight unit, you can edit a freight unit, you can directly go into cockpit. Cockpit is the planning tool for TM. When I come into the planning part, I'll show you what is a cockpit. You can also create a delivery ERP. So for order-based planning, you don't need to directly go into freight order. You can also directly create your deliveries also from here. You can do a splitting or merging of your freight unit. You can basically set countries. So this is mainly for LSP scenario. You can cancel a freight unit. You can create a freight order capacity document. So instead of going directly into freight unit, you can also do it from here. You can block a freight unit. So block means either you block the planning or you block the execution. You can remove the block. What you have blocked, you can remove it, and you can refresh as well as you can export to Excel. Okay. So these are the different features what you have for freight unit. And whenever you are specifying any type of freight unit, Okay, so freight unit is nothing but it's actually the smallest unit of transportation. That means whenever you are transporting anything in TM, you need to actually know what you are transporting, where you are transporting, and when you are transporting. These are the three important queries you need to have for any transport process. And in order to have that, we need a document, and that business document is your freight unit. The freight unit, suppose if you are using a freight unit for a product, you can use a freight unit as a cargo, you can use a freight unit as a packaging material, you can use freight unit as a pallet, you can use a freight unit as a container. Okay, so you can do a lot of things with this freight unit. And always note that it's a freight unit ultimately which is loaded or assigned to a freight order, because you need to load the cargo to your truck. So that means my truck is my one FO is one truck is equal to one FO, and I'm loading the freight units to a truck. That means I always need to have an assignment of a freight unit to a freight order. There can be multiple freight units or there can be a single freight unit to a freight order. Okay. So there are different features you will see when I'm doing my freight order or freight unit assignment. But for a particular shipment to happen, the freight unit should always be assigned to my freight order. Without that, your execution, your delivery, nothing can be done. Okay. Did you get the concept of freight unit? Anyone who did not understand the concept? Anything which you need explanation on freight unit, please?
No.
Okay. So if I open a freight unit from here, you will get to see what are the attributes you have for a freight unit. So what is a freight unit? So when you are opening any type of freight unit, you'll find all this information. What is the freight unit type? So this shipping type is something which will come provided you have maintained the shipping type in your sales order. So shipping type means how you are going to ship the product, whether you are shipping it in full truckload, less than truckload. Okay, so that is how the shipping type data is there. Again, you have your movement type. So movement type means basically this movement type is used in case you want to have multiple stages. So mainly for LSP scenario, we use the movement type. Okay, so let me do one thing. Let me not go with this because I think this is an LSP part which the freight unit got open. Let me open with business 2001 ESXP. Yes, I think. Showing some error. Let me open the freight unit which I had quoted. Enter to the error. 0, 0. Yeah, if you see this, so this is the freight unit type. Movement type, we generally don't use it in specifically in shipper scenario. We generally do it in LSP because movement type will indicate how many stages you are going to have in your freight unit. Okay. So when you are doing any LSP, so in the LSP part, the actual routing and all will actually is determined by the movement type. So when I come into LSP scenario, I'll show you how the movement type determines how many stages will be populated in your particular order document. Incoterm location. I think this you must be familiar with your ECC knowledge that Incoterm will actually indicate basically which party is responsible for what type of payment when they are doing the transport from point A to point B. So there are a lot of Incoterms which SAP has created, and you can also Google it, the list of Incoterms which you have in terms of industrial association transportation laws. Okay. And whenever you are creating an Incoterm, you can also build an Incoterm location. So Incoterm location means what? So in any sales order, if you go into any sales order, you have Incoterm and you have Incoterm location. Incoterm location is actually a free text. So the free text is actually considered as an Incoterm location. And this is the freight unit building rule. So this is the most critical part because if this rule is not built up, you have seen that every OTR, DTR has a freight unit and a freight unit building rule. So in case that freight unit building rule is not there, your freight unit will not be created. Sometimes what you see, your freight unit is created, but this rule is blank and it is put as default. So that is not actually the correct way to create your freight unit. You should always have the freight unit building rule there. This is a house bill of lading number or house airway bill number. So, house bill of lading number, house airway bill number is actually created either manually or you can put in a free text, or it can also be generated automatically based on the number range. So whenever we are transporting or handing over any type of products or cargo to a carrier, there is a document which is issued by the carrier for the shipper, so that it will basically provide a claim on the ownership of the goods. For that, this house bill of lading number can be generated. Again, as I told you, it can be manually numbered, it can be a free text, or it can also be automatically generated, but it is not mandatory if you don't maintain anything. It is not going to stop any of your operation. Because when I'm creating my freight unit, I don't know in which mode of transport I will be doing the transport. That's why the mode of transport is blank. As I told you yesterday, in case you are maintaining shipping type in your ECC sales order, in that case only the mode of transport will be updated. But because in most of the cases, my shipping type is not known by the sales guy, so that's why you will not be able to see that. Okay, so that's why more or less it will be empty. Okay. Any question from anyone? Is it clear to everyone? Then comes your capacity. So this capacity, what you see here is the capacity of your particular cargo. So whatever cargo you are transporting, cargo means the particular freight unit, or in other words, the material information. The material or the packaging, everything what you are transporting basically is called as a cargo. So the capacity of the cargo is actually specified here. So automatically it will come in once the item is transferred from ERP to TM. And this is the location information. So location information means from where to where your transport is moving. So when I say where to where means basically this is from your shipping point and this is from your customer location, right? So whenever it is moving from your shipping point to a customer location, that is my source. The pickup point is my source, and my destination is my final the final arrival point, right? So my source and destination location is always picked up from the shipping point and the ship to party. So shipping point is your source and your ship to party is your destination. And based on whatever data I have created, the requested date is used as the date for your final destination. And the pickup date is the one which based on which, you can say that this is the date on which my freight order, rather my product or cargo will be picked up from the premises. Okay. Now you'll see there are 4 dates here. So 4 dates means one is your acceptable dates, another is your requested date. So whenever we talk about requested is called as a soft constant and acceptable is called as a hard constant. So requested means you have a start and end date. Similarly, acceptable means start and end date. So whenever we are talking about requested dates, that means in case, my planning, when I'm doing my planning for this freight unit, if the requested dates are violated means both for source as well as destination. In that case, system will still let you to create a freight order, but there will be some penalty associated with it because the requested start and end dates have not been added to. That is the meaning of this particular requested. But when we talk about acceptable, the acceptable means basically you cannot violate this because this is a constant for your particular planning. So in case anyone is violating the planning, in that case, the system will not allow you to create your particular freight, a freight order accordingly. Okay. So this is the difference between the acceptable and the requested. So we should always try to stay within the requested because if the acceptable dates are violated, then system will not allow you to create your freight order. And these dates, what you are seeing, either you can put the dates manually or you can also put the dates automatically based on certain BRA plus condition. So in BRA plus, we have a condition called as a time window condition. So that time window condition will actually control and it will feed you with all the dates here in case you are using BRA plus to do that. In case you are not doing BRA plus to do that, then some of the dates can be entered manually. And in addition to what is this information is, you can also see that there is a total distance which is being calculated by the system based on source destination. You can also input the different organizational data, which is a purchase org, purchasing group, execution org and execution group. So this data is not mandatory because ultimately my planning for purchasing and my planning can come directly in the freight order as well. But in case you want to feel that, okay, while planning the freight unit, this is the organizational unit which should be responsible, then you can maintain the data here. In case you are transporting any dangerous goods, okay, then the dangerous goods tick mark should be there. So that will come from the material master or rather from the other master data which we set up in TM for dangerous goods. DG goods is not again mandatory to be maintained, but in case you need to maintain, you need to have an EHS consultant who can actually create the DG profile. He can also help you to see what are the issues you have while doing a planning for dangerous goods. But there are 2-3 transactions which we just need to maintain while performing dangerous goods. I'll show you that in details later on when I'll come into the transportation planning part for dangerous goods. Okay. So these are the other points which are actually used whenever we are transporting any dangerous goods. So any question on the first page? Anything which you have not understood? Clear to everyone? Okay. So this is the items part. So items part means what? Items means basically whatever cargo you are transporting, it will show in the details of that. So in my case, I want to transport my product inside a package. So in that case, you just click on, for example, if you want to click on the package one, and here if you go down, you see the package information. So this is the description. This is the product ID of the pallet. In case the package has a specific package ID and all, you can always create it, packaging material type. So this is the length with height which comes from the material master. You can also specify what is the capacity relation and all. Okay, and this is whether you can stack a cargo and over-dimensional cargo in this particular package. You can put a tick mark, whether it is stackable or not stackable, whether it's a high value cargo or not, what is the goods value of the cargo. All this information is actually captured. Okay. And if you go into the quantity information, so in the quantity information, you can see what is the planned quantity. So again, the planned quantity is actually coming based on the planning which you have done. So based on the quantities which is coming from the material master. So once you are putting that particular product into a package, system will determine how many packages will be required to do the planning of that product. Accordingly, the quantity was this pallet, the gross weight was this, the gross volume was this, outer volume was this, tag weight, etc. Okay. And if you see here, there is a field called as the actual quantity. Can you tell me from where the actual quantity can come in? Any guesses?
When we process the deliveries in ERP system.
When we process the deliveries. The deliveries is already processed, right?
Yeah, but the update will come to FO and FO, right?
See, what happens here whenever there is any update in the freight order. Okay, the freight order updates can come either through warehouse integration, or in case you're using EWM. In EWM also, you can send an updates, how much is loaded, how much is PGI'd, how much is departed, etc. So that is the actual quantity which is actually loaded or unloaded in a truck. So the loading and unloading of quantities in a truck will ultimately update the quantities in your freight. Okay. So here you see the quantities, the gross weight, the net weight, everything will come here. Similarly, the actual quantity also will be updated based on TM, EWM integration or warehousing integration, everything. So you can have your gross weight, gross volume, tier weight, tier volume, etc. Similarly, this is the plan size and this is the actual size. So if you want to know what is the the planned length, planned width, planned height, and what is the actual length with height, you can also get this information. But the actual size, actually, you can either get it from an interface or you have to enter it manually. Okay. Then you have the business partner here. So business partner is like who is the shipper, who is the ship to party. You get an information here. This is the statuses. So statuses of a particular package. So whether your particular, what is the handling unit status, what is the cargo. So these are different statuses which gets updated based on different transaction processing in TM. And if you see this warehouse processing is actually based on the integration with your warehouse management process. So in case there are any updates expected to be received from any warehouse, it will update the warehouse processing status here. And goods movement means basically when you are doing a PGI. So PGI means, like post goods issue, right? So when you are doing a PGI either from ECC or from EWM, automatically the PGI status will be updated here. Notes, I've already shown you what does the notes do. In case you want to add any manual notes, you can always click on insert button. Okay. Then you have this content identification. So content identification means, for example, if you want to maintain the goods type for a specific batch or for a specific account number, then content means how do you identify the product? How do you identify the content which is there in your freight unit? So you can do it either based on account number or you can do it based on batch number or ordinary product. This is the document references where you can find out. Okay, so this document reference is actually related to some transaction IDs and all, which you can keep it blank now because we need to fill this up manually. It's not mandatory. This is a discrepancy. So discrepancy means in case there are any differences between the planned and the actual quantity, system will consider it as a discrepancy. Okay. So for example, if the delivery quantity is 5, but the actual quantity received is 3, then there will be a discrepancy of 2 quantities. The discrepancy is something which may come from warehouse management system, or it may also come from freight order and all. And ultimately, whether it's a discrepancy or not, that will be actually be decided based on the based on a tolerance level. So in the configuration, there is a discrepancy profile concept, which I will discuss later on. And once the particular quantity is above or below the discrepancy quantity, then the discrepancies will be reported in your freight order, which will propagate to a freight unit. And whenever you have discrepancy, your planning and execution should be done. Okay. So in case you have seen that your freight order is getting created, but it is getting, like there are a lot of changes in terms of the quantity. In that case, the discrepancies will automatically come. And you can also resolve the discrepancy manually. Okay. So you can resolve discrepancy by clicking on the button. And if you want a certain events to trigger the discrepancy, so that is also controlled through configuration. So when I come into the configuration of discrepancy, I'll show you how the discrepancies are actually utilized in your particular shipment document. And from shipment document, you come to a freight event. Okay. Similarly, you see that we have seen, for example, for package, we'll also see for product. The tabs are almost the same. The only here implication is that you need a product instead of a package. So if you see here, you can maintain the serial number of the product. You can maintain the batch ID of the product if you want to do it. So how much time the product will be used before it expires. So you can give the supplier batch number. You can give the country of origin. You can also give the date of manufacture, the batch ID, all this information. And in addition to that, you can also give the other tabs in terms of quantities and all. So this is the details tab where you can see the product ID number, transportation group, length, width, height, description. You can see the quantities here. Again, the same concept, planned quantity, actual quantity, all the information you can see it here. You can see the business partner also here. So the business partner means who is the shipper and who is the ship to party. You can also see the statuses. The status is the one which we discussed. Handling unit, cargo receipt and all. The notes tab is very critical because in case any text needs to be maintained in the item level, you need to specify it here. Content identification I've already shown. Okay. So I will not go into the next tabs. Okay, let me go to one more tab, which is called as a business partner tab. We cover this also. The business partner tab means who are the business partners who are involved in this entire transportation process. Okay. So SAP has given options to configure your business partner in such a way that your ship to party, your bill to party, invoicing party, all can be updated here in addition to carrier. But because this is a freight unit, so we don't get too much of partner functions like carrier and all here. Mainly those are there in your freight order. Okay. So these are the different partner functions which you see, shipper, ship Any question till now? Is it understood? The concept is understood to everyone? Why freight unit is required and all, and what are the important information you have in your general data tab? Clearly understood to everyone? This is a business partner tab, which I was showing it to you. If I go into the edit part. And here, if you see, this is my shipper, ship to party, sold to party, goods buyer. Okay. And as I've shown you yesterday, if you want to add some more partner functions here, Z partner function, which is not available in the drop down, you have to use it through partner profile. And if you want to add some more partner function, you can go into this drop down and you can create this. So this is a different country, region, etc., which you have. So all will flow from the address. And if you want to update the address, you click on this. Okay. Maybe that's different part. And if you want to select anything, you have from the options here, header, label, item, whether it's a manual entry. Okay. So this is how automatically from the predecessor document, if you see the ones which is derived from the predecessor, you'll always get the origin of entry. So this is very important to analyze that which data is coming from which document. So your sold to party goods buyer will come always from the sales order delivery. So it is derived from predecessor. But if you want to add something new, it will always be a manual. Okay. Okay, I will stop here today because next of the flow will always take time. So we'll go through the stages and all others once I come back from holiday on Monday. Okay. Any other thing from anyone which I need to see or which we need to discuss?
Thank you for attending the session. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to visit our Vimeo page and follow for more upcoming videos.